This is the co-op and solo entry into our 2026 Board Games Direct series, a series of videos where we're going to tell you about some games that you might find at a convention, even if you can't go to one. We got a whole bunch of these to get through, but before we do, it's important to mention that these are paid previews, not our usual review videos. Let's get cracking with a whole bunch of these cooperative and solo board games. There's quite a few, and French Toast is wobbling around. Whoa! This is Final Girls Series 4, and we have the massive collector's box with all of it packed in here, including this Krypton Mausoleum box at the top that has a bunch of little fancy meeples you can use.
Oh!
But today we're just going to be focusing on the newest installment in Season 4, the Raptor games. What kind of games are those Raptors playing, Matt?
Well, they've got opposable claws, which means they can play any game you'd like.
But mostly Sabutio.
Most of Sabutio. They do like a little bit of Connect 4, but they get mad when they don't win. And what do we have here, Tom? Oh my, this looks like some sort of trademark dinosaur island,
It is a trademark dinosaur island, and next to that, we have some trademark dinosaurs to go on that
The
island.
Raptors.
The Raptors! So the two things you get in this new little box of Final Girl, if you're a Final Girl aficionado, you'll know that the feature boxes contain a location, the island, and a villain, the Raptors.
Yeah.
And you can play against either villain and either map on any other villain/map combination.
Yeah.
You can mix and match whatever you
So
want.
if you want a killer clown to be chasing you on basically Jurassic Park Island, then that's a thing you can do now.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Honestly, the idea of that frightens me a little bit.
And
I'm not
delights
scared
me
by
as
much.
well.
It delights me, but actually, I just imagine that.
Pretty crazy
I don't
combo.
like it. I don't like it.
But if you're not familiar with how Final Girl works, let's give you a little basic overview using some of the stuff that's on the table right now. So when you play Final Girl, you need a core box, which is this stuff down here, and then you combine it with one of the feature boxes. And they are solo-only games where you're going to be playing as the final girl in a horror movie, trying to escape whatever nasty thing is happening to you today. And most of the game is playing these action cards and resolving their effects. And every time you play one of these cards, you roll some spooky dice. These dice are real mean.
Yeah.
If you roll them and you get a 5 or a 6, then you get a star. That counts as a success, and the more successes you get, the better the effect on the card. But the 1s and the 2s have nothing on them at all, and the 3s and 4s, you can turn them into a success if you bin 2 cards from your hand. And that's going to sting a lot more when you realise how you get cards
are
back
quite important
later on. They're
Tom,
really
I have a
important.
question. Are these dice larger than normal dice?
Do seem a
or
little
have I
large.
shrunk slightly?
Maybe you've shrunk a little bit, or maybe they've put a little bit of air in the dice just to pad them out a little. And these cards are going to let you do a whole bunch of different effects, the main one being moving around this board. Here I am, hanging out here, and you can move from one location to the next, and if you move into a space with any of these victims, you can kind of pick them up and try and bring them to an exit space. If you manage to get them to an exit, then they join you on your little board over here and give you some one-use powers. If you fill all the different spaces, then you have a flippy, and you get a super special ability just for you. Other actions will let you do stuff like replenish your health, search for items that'll help you beat the killer, or just go and hit the killer. If you're in their space, then you can attack them.
Just hit a raptor with your fists.
Yeah, with
There's no
perhaps
crime in it.
a weak attack that will do different amounts of damage depending on how successful you are, and you can obviously embellish that with items. Like a big baseball bat. Just bludgeon a raptor to death with a baseball bat.
But
you can do it.
That sounds to me to be like quite a time-consuming endeavour.
Very good, Matt. Yes, indeed. These cards will often cost you time. This is a time tracker over here, and if you ever get to 0 time, then that phase is over. You're done. You can't play any more cards. So maybe you want to end it early and save a little bit of your time, because once you're done playing your cards, you'll be able to buy new ones from the card market over here, and you can see their little time costs on the bottom, and these will give you slightly more fancy powers you can use, maybe reactions to avoid getting hit, that kind of thing. But what's really interesting is that all the cards you played in a round get discarded after you've bought your new cards.
Right.
And they go back into the shop.
Oh.
So even though these cards are 0 cost for time, I can't actually get them back until the next round of the game, where I can then slurp them back in and use them again, which means every time you play a card, you're offsetting being able to use it by a whole round.
It means you might have a round where you do a ton of different things, but then the next round you're kind of
Like,
a
I
bit
can't
stuck.
walk anywhere. I spent all of last
Unless
day
you've saved
walking.
loads of time somehow.
Maybe you've done that.
Yeah, but this little box, crucially, and I need to get to the important stuff.
Yeah, let's get to the Raptors.
This map, right? The Raptors as a baddie, they're pretty interesting in the fact that, as you might expect, they're pack animals. They're going to be adding new Raptors to the map that are going to try and go rejoin the pack. And when they do, the pack gets nastier.
Yeah.
As is traditionally known.
Yeah, on their own, they're not that threatening, but then they try and move towards the pack, and then when they do, they make it healthier and more dangerous, which is a little scary.
Yeah, not a pleasant thing to have to fight against, but I think the real star of this is the island.
Yeah, the island itself is great.
You've got electric fences that, because they're frazzly and on and off, just like in the copyrighted trademark island, they're going to be turning on and off, blocking off different routes with electricity and causing you problems getting around, but maybe causing other things getting around.
Maybe.
Because a nice feature of this island is not only does this island potentially have a volcano that can erupt and start destroying everything you love and the things you don't love as well.
Yeah, that space not so accessible anymore. It's covered in volcano, and that lava is only going to spread to more territories and make a big problem for
That's
everybody.
not an ideal thing to have on an island,
not
I
great.
think. But the second thing is that this island has a T-Rex, and the
Yeah.
T-Rex is not like the enemy that you have to fight. It's not like the killer of the game. It's just a feature of the island.
It's a map hazard. The deck of terror cards that you build for each individual scenario has a bunch of cards for the threat that you're facing and also the map. And some of these cards will just have hatch a giant T-Rex on them.
Hey.
You'll see its little miniature slowly plod towards this space where it then gets unleashed on the board and will just try and eat anything.
Yeah.
It'll eat the victims, it'll eat you, it'll eat raptors.
It eats whatever it wants.
It'll do whatever it wants, and it just eats it completely. There's no damage roll, it just chomps it.
And again, just looking at what we got in the earlier parts of this season, we've got a crazy possessed nun. So you could essentially be chasing a
T-Rex
crazy...
and a nun.
A nun, and there's a T-Rex there as well.
Yeah, or the Predator on a T-Rex, just hanging out together. The possibilities are truly big. That is a brief overview of both Final Girl and this new set, the Raptor games, that's got Raptors, it's got T-Rexes, it's got electric fences. What more could you want?
I mean, not much.
Not much. Matt, they said that Terraria was a 2D version of Minecraft.
Yes.
But they made this even more 2D than Terraria.
That's true, because computers are three-dimensional and we have to look through the screens into them, we have to be a human.
And as you can tell, this is entirely 2D. There's no, ignore these.
I was going to say,
There's no
I
height.
was trying to help you out with that one really, but this is slightly more 3D than 2D, but it is quite flat.
Soon they'll eventually make a 1D version of Minecraft.
But this is all completely made out of cardboard, which is basically the two-dimensional version of tree.
This is made of neoprene.
And of course, this is made of neoprene, which is the 2D version of wetsuit.
Matt, this is Terraria, the board game. A board game that's Terraria.
Absolutely.
And in it, you're going to do all the Terraria things. This is a big one to explain, so I'm going to go through the basics. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just give you a flavour of the kind of stuff you're going to be digging and doing in Terraria, the board game.
Yeah, because I've seen this game being sort of set up in its natural state. What we have on the board here now looks currently quite tame, I would
Sparse.
say. Quite sparse. To be clear, this isn't the tablecloth, this is the playmat. This is the first game we've looked at so far in
bigger
our
than
filming
table.
that is bigger than table. And an important thing, Board Games Direct, is no one gets bigger table.
No one gets bigger table.
If game don't fit on table, not all game on table.
We don't make the rules. We do make the rules.
I make the rules. Not getting another table.
The way I'm going to present this to you is going to be a sort of little restaurant-style buffet of different component trays.
I was thinking like a tasting menu, because this box is just full of lots of different component trays with different things.
Yeah, I'm going to guide you through the systems like a tasting menu.
Okay.
And we're going to start with your little character board over here. Look,
Ooh.
it's you.
That does look an awful lot like me.
You're going to have a little character board that's got your health, it's got your magic, and you can see these little strangely moulded things that block you from going too high.
Oh.
You've got your little storage thing over here, and then you've got your action cards, because this map is a deck building game. And
Right.
this is your starting deck.
Okay.
And you're going to use these cards to take all the different game's actions. We'll go over these first, because the first thing you do is player actions on every given round.
Oh, look.
Where you freeform play your cards to do orbs.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got an Explore card, which gives me 1p.
You can
Eat
use...
the P, and then you have the energy to just walk around.
Yeah, to travel around the map. The way that these cards work is a lot of them are going to give you these configurations of these little action orbs that you can spend on whatever actions you want to do. So I'm going to go through all of these actions in very brief. Action number 1, you can move around. You can spend an orb to move your little guy around the board.
Oh, I've stepped outside of reality.
If indeed you do get, let's remove this slime over here. If you get to the edge of the board, then you can do a free action to discover stuff, expanding the bounds of our known world. Now, of course, Terraria, famous for having lots of different biomes to explore. And when you explore a new biome, boom, you reveal what kind. You've just found some jungle. And so we slot this little tile in like this and show that you're exploring that new bit of territory.
The wet tree biome.
Exactly. Maybe you step off this ledge and you fall and take fall damage. Didn't know where else to talk about that, but it's in the game. You can see that there is a whole different bunch of these tiles for the different biomes, and they also have different layers. So depending on how deep you go and on what biome you are in, you'll get different stuff, which will be very familiar to people who've played Terraria, da video game.
So this is somewhat of a simulation of Terraria, the video game.
It's got everything.
Because I played Terraria, the video game, briefly, as did everybody, I think. Like, it was the mandated, like, military service almost.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a go at Minecraft, you have a go at Terraria.
And you see which one you prefer.
I got kind of overwhelmed by it, and I didn't go that far into it, which means I'm imagining most of the things in this game I'm not going to recognise.
People are going to be like, oh yeah, the king slime. We'll get to him later.
Good.
You can also do your classic survival game stuff. You can chop down trees with your starting axe, or you can dig little holes with your starting pickaxe.
Okay.
Let me show you what happens when you dig a little hole. You bring out the tunnel tray.
Oh my.
It's got all these little caverns that you can dig down. So over here, we might dig a little cave that goes clunk like that. And now we're getting inside this little cavern. We can go around and mine some of those resources that'll sit on your player board. And there's a whole different bunch of different resources that you can gather by going around the world. There's wood you can gather by chopping trees. But what do you do with it, Matt?
I don't know. House.
House. You do house.
I remember house.
And the way that you know that is through the little crafting booklet.
Oh.
This is a menu of all the different things you can make in the game. You can make new tools that make you better at chopping and digging and doing stuff. You can get new armor, which are these little plastic cards that you socket over your player like this to give them a fresh new drip.
That's fun.
Is that what the kids say?
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Keep dripping on me, mister. I must admit, I do like the fact that the tabs on this are kind of lovely for the different sections.
Yes.
But also that it's double-sided. So
the bestiary.
On this side, crafting. On the other side, beasts.
Whacking.
Beasts and how to whack them.
While we're still on crafting, I'll just remind you, you were right, you were totally right, that you can build little houses which sit on the board like so. And you can also attract different NPCs when you unlock their little criteria, and they can move in and give you services like buying more action cards or buying potions that you can throw at monsters, because that's the other part of the game.
Just having people come and living in the space where you live.
Exactly.
Like as if nothing's wrong with that.
You could even put them in a cave.
What?
If you would mean.
I can put a nurse in a cave in the game.
The other thing that you're going to be doing with these actions is fighting. There's all different kinds of beasties you can go up against, such as these slimes over here. And you can fight them with your standard melee when you stand next to them, hit them with your sword. And we've got some dice-based combat that's just off camera.
Oh boy.
Or you can hit them with ranged attacks with these little range finders that show you how far you can hit someone with, depending on what kind of bow or grappling hook or gun that you might have in Terraria. But if you kill enough of these little slimes, the big one is going to be mad.
I was going to say.
And that's where the bosses come in. We got this king slime that's going to come and fight you.
Chekhov's big slime.
Look how big it is. It's huge. It'll crush all your stuff. And it also has, I shall show you this now, these nice, shiny, holographic cards that kind of track the boss's behavior depending on how long it's been around and what you're doing. Stop disassembling the slime,
No,
Matthew.
it's got a mouth so it can speak.
And you might be thinking, wow, Tom, just one boss?
What the heck?
That's not enough.
What the heck? That's just strong bad. I'm just ripping off strong bad, sorry.
That's not enough Terraria bosses for me in my Terraria the board game. Well, don't you worry, Matt. There's a whole bunch more. You got a B, you got an I, you got a big wall of flesh, and they all come in their own little packet that you'll pop open and you will assemble from the little components.
Oh.
Look at that. A horrible bee that you can stab.
You, sir, you look like you're in the market for a big wall of flesh. Madam, a bee for the lady.
An eye of Cthulhu?
A big eye and a Cthulhu. We got wall of flesh. Don't forget about the wall of flesh.
The reason you're doing all this is hopefully to complete some of these objectives that you've got up here. That's one of the ways of winning the game, is completing a chain of objectives. If you get really big into logging, then you can go down that chain. If you get really into digging, you go down that chain, and so on and so forth. Or you can defeat the Wall of Flesh, which is a giant, horrible creature that lives at the very bottom of the world, and you need to hit him with the biggest sword that you have available. I'm really struggling to pop open this game tray. There we go. Look at that.
Oh yeah, that really is.
That's absolutely beastly.
That truly is a wall of flesh.
And look at these weird little nibblers that it's got that kind of socket into it.
Oh.
There's so much more that I haven't covered. There's a whole other tray of different enemies that can spawn in the game.
I believe you.
There's tons of different tiles. There's tons of resources. There's tons of things to make. There's loads of cards.
But this is Board Games Direct, and what we do is we just directly into your house give you a view into board games that are around, and we've done that. And you might not have seen every single aspect of this game, but honestly, I think it would take up an entire video to do that.
Yeah, it would be a big one.
This is just a big simulation of the video game Terraria.
If you want Terraria on your table, then you should get Terraria the board game, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's Terraria.
It's Terraria.
They made it table.
But table.
This is Mini Rogue, and it is a solo or 2-player or 3-player expansion, standalone expansion to the original Mini Rogue game, which is a little roguelike you can play on your kitchen table.
Okay, so is the original game a solo game? Mm-hmm. So it's a standalone expansion that allows you to make the game more player.
But it also adds a whole bunch of content to play through if you're just a solo player. Like it's a whole new campaign, whole new set of cards, a whole new dungeon to delve.
Yeah.
You're not going down, you're going up.
Yeah.
This crazy city.
We're doing up dungeon this time.
Up dungeon, exactly. So the way this game works, very straightforward. At the start, you're going to choose your character. I've chosen to play as the rat catcher.
I can't help but notice that, yeah. I think I might like to be the flagellant.
When you play this solo game, you will be the flagellant. Yeah, if we were playing the 2-player version, you'd get to pick a character as well, and we would delve this dungeon.
We'd delve it together, and I'd be a flagellant, basically hitting myself a lot, whilst you'd be
a rat catcher.
Honestly, a pair of people I'm not sure I want to hang out with. Anyway, please, rat catch away.
So the way the game works is we're going to encounter these cards. We start here at this old clock, and this will involve a skill check that'll get us some money, or maybe lose us some food, or gain us some health, or gain us some potions, and then we'll have a choice. We can either go to this card over here and deal with some ravenous rats, or we can go down and just hang out in a nook.
Just hang out in a nook.
One of them sounds a lot more
Honestly,
pleasant.
yeah, I know what I pick.
So the monsters, you'll go and fight them. You'll engage in a little combat system where you'll roll these dice and you'll try and biff them, and hopefully get some results that will have you cleave them in half before they eat your face.
Yeah,
that's what I presume the ravenous rats will get up to. There's a nice little system here where you will kind of see what the enemy intent is, and you can base your roll on that. So because you roll the dice together.
Yeah.
So if you think the enemy is going to hit you with a really big attack, and you just rolled a 6, which will let you roll again, you might take that chance, even though if you roll an X, God, imagine if I roll an X right now. Oh.
You did not, you rolled a 2.
Well, that's good, because I clobber them. But if I rolled an X, then I would fully miss. That would be really, really upsetting.
You push your luck, as they say.
Exactly. Dealing with monsters will get you some loot and stuff like that, and then you can continue your adventure getting down to these cards at the bottom, which will have little bosses for you to fight, continuing your adventure into this little city.
I noticed that there's a whole bunch of little statty-tracky things over here. We've got XP.
It wouldn't be a roguelike adventure game without some experience, some armor that soaks your damage, some food to keep you alive.
Gold.
Gold.
I like gold.
For spending at merchants. And, of course, potions for doing special kinds of attacks.
The real experience was the potions we drank along the way.
This is all in regular Mini Rogue. This is the kind of stuff that is in the base game, but the stuff the expansion adds that isn't just like a slate of, regular new content that's exciting to have a little poke through, is also you can play this game in Overlord mode, which you can either do solo or multiplayer, I believe, where one player will take the role of the actual dungeon itself.
Oh, they are the dungeon.
Trying to spew out the invader coming in and taking all their stuff. You can either play that kind of competitively, or you could just play it as a solo mode where you're repelling fake invaders. There's also a tiny little expansion called the Mountain of Torments expansion.
The Mountain of Torments.
That's a bunch of extra variability, and you've got these lore cards that add a bit of narrative flavour as you go. And like I said, you can play this either as just a one-off game, or you can go through a full campaign. There's a little booklet that's got kind of choose your own adventure style text
I can see there's a campaign with a bunch of different...
There's a wizard in a dungeon. Do you clobber him? Yes.
Always say yes.
That's Mini Rogue.
Clobbering wizards.
Council. This is The Restless, and is a hand-drawn cooperative survival game.
For 1 to 4 players. That's my hand.
It was your real hand.
But you'll have to use your own hands. I could do it cutting my fingernails. I'm sorry about that. I'm a little grubby goblin.
It's kind of suitable that you're a grubby goblin, because this is a grubby game.
Fantastic. Well, I won't cut my fingernails.
This is intentionally grubby. Grubby in brackets positive. This game was surprisingly rules light. When I read the rulebook, I was surprised at how kind of quick and breezy the rules teach was. But the game has one of those things where it says, in the event of a rules query, rule in the thing that contributes to the game's oppressive atmosphere the most. So that's what you're getting in for with the Restless.
It's like the golden rule, but like the reverse of the golden rule. The jet black rule.
Just try and make people as miserable as possible.
Yeah, like what's the worst thing that can happen right now? I've got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, that's kind of the tone that this game is sort of shooting for. It's a game about kind of surviving against the odds in a very bleak and dark world.
Yeah.
You're a party of adventurers. You're trying to kill a traitor god from this deck of really
Traitorous
traitorous gods. And I should point out straight ahead, I mean, it says it on the box, everything in this game is hand-drawn by one person, and if you can see these stacks of cards, which I don't think you can...
We will have some B-roll of that.
We'll have some B-roll.
We have some... The stacks of cards are gigantic.
They're mighty. They're really hard to pick up because they're so big.
That's massive, and there's 3 of those, basically.
There's 3, and some of them are even bigger than others.
So there's just a lot of hand-drawn drawings.
Quite an astonishing amount of it.
And we should also point out that this game is not family-friendly. Most of the games we've got on this BGD, you can just put them in front of anyone. This one, having a rifle through the decks, we found a selection of quite adult things.
Yeah, it's a grotty game.
Yeah, grotty, and also you have to be okay with horrible things because this is a genuinely horrible little adventure.
Yes.
You've been warned.
You've been warned. So the way this game actually works is it's kind of a dungeon crawler. You have these encounter cards here that you're going to go through. The first encounter will be a pick 3, and then you just see what the deck rolls out for you.
Okay.
And you're going to do a multitude of these different realms as well. So each one of these represents a realm. We start on realm 1, and then as we go through, oh look, the stars start disappearing until we get to the pitch black realm 5. At which point you will fight a traitor god and maybe win or maybe die.
Maybe not, yeah.
And these realms, they add sort of different rules modifiers as well to the regular game. We won't go into those, but they have a big chunk of some text on them. Right now, we're in the Pit of Martyrs.
Of course we are.
Oh no, you know that something's gone wrong when you're covered in the Pit of Martyrs. And it has some text and it also has a few rules. Now, let me show you these encounters. So at the first, we get a pick 3. What do we want to encounter, Matt? A Fool's Rat?
Oh.
A Disincensed Ashik Stoneheart? Or the Bastards of Bellbridge?
I was going to say, I'm usually quite good at reading upside down.
Yeah.
I play enough board games that I always set it up away from me, to be kind. But this one's hard. I couldn't do that. However, the Bastards of Bellbridge, no problem with that at all.
No problem.
Wonderful to say.
These are all combat encounters, and when you enter into a combat encounter, let's say we're going to fight this Fool's Rat, we stack these up like this, we're going to fight the Fool's Rat. We then just engage in combat where we take turns in whatever order we want. There's only 2 of us, but we have 2 characters each, and we just choose which one wants to take its turn and we go around.
So I've got the Sleep Lord, that's me,
That is
and
you.
I've got the Judge.
I've got the Halo and the Palm, and they have their own special abilities, they have their own stats, they have carrying capacity, they have health, and they have whacking damage. You'll also see that we have some items that we should have split up before we engage in this combat encounter, such as some walking staff, a simple bow, or dog shanks.
Yeah, again, like this gives you some idea of some of the content of the game. Like this is some food. So helpful food.
Helpful food.
Just some bits of dog meat.
And you'll notice as well, they have a sort of basic effect at the top, and then if you have a certain trait, such as Herbalist, you can cook up those dog shanks into something real special.
And the Sleep Lord is a herbalist.
Of course.
So the Sleep Lord is getting sleepy.
Yeah.
He's having weird dreams, and the weird dreams are probably being exacerbated by the fact he's eating dog meat.
Quite possibly.
And again, that's like, if that seems like slightly horrible, slightly ugh, then trust us, we're not going to go into it. But it gets worse.
It gets worse.
A lot worse.
Combat with these creatures, you can either run away or you can try and fight them, and it's dice-based combat. You've got this big d20 that you're going to roll. You can add to that various modifiers given to you by your weapons and armor. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward stuff. It's mostly about exploring this spooky, weird world. What's next on the path, Matt?
It is.
a flood-dredged tunnel borer.
Oh, they look friendly.
And we can continue down and see an Uthek host or a packed rat. There's a lot of rats in this game.
Yeah.
I'll also deal, just because there's a whole bunch of these, and I was just going through them and I just found them absolutely like delightful, in brackets horrible. Look, it's a word-bound manservant.
Ah.
Oh no, I've gone and got the black wound. What a nightmare. Or like, kind of this kind of, I don't know, like slightly a captive sin? I don't know, there's something very evocative.
I mean, I've
about
seen
that.
in one of the decks, I don't know whether they were treasures or items, but like I've seen cards that just said you have been cursed by sin.
Yes.
In very large letters in a way that was like, what?
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is emergent, so it's kind of hard to give you a full picture, but you could open a treasure chest and suddenly found yourself covered in sin.
Yeah.
Which would glue to your character and make you nightmarishly bad at stuff.
Thematically, I'm very into.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just, if you and your friends would like to have a bad, weird time that's a bit like being in a like really dark horror RPG.
Yeah.
but with no one having to run it, then this seems like it might be really worth a look.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Please, give me some more
Should
things.
we finish out with a few evil cards?
Just a few evil cards.
Look, it's the head of Zik Petrosine.
Oh, poor Zik.
Uh-oh, a groaning leaden coffin.
Oh,
what
I'm
could
sure.
possibly be in there?
I thought it was butter.
Look, pork shank.
Pork shank. Nothing more normal than pork shank.
Slumberous calcified egg. Mule ghost in a jar.
Oh, I've been looking for that.
Oh, I've been looking everywhere.
And that is the Restless.
That is the Restless. Oh, wait, final thing. The artist also did a tarot deck that you can get called the Tarot Restless. Look at it right here. Oh my goodness, these cards are shiny.
Oh gosh, they are. And
also got something a little lewd on the back.
the card backing of that. Well, I don't know if that's lewd. I think that's
It's
just
biological.
It's biological. It's human. It's biological. If you don't appreciate that these exist, then I don't know what world you're living in.
But you've obviously got a whole bunch of like these kind of, again, quite dark and grim tarot cards, which is just a tarot set, but also you can incorporate them into the game with a little mini expansion.
Hey, it's everybody's favourite thing, complicity.
That's the Restless. Wow, that's a hell of a deal.
Hell of a deal. Well, unfortunately, this is not just hell of a deal in terms of somebody going and buying a cheap motor car or a TV set on the cheap. In this game, the idea is you've actually made a deal with the devil.
Yeah. Yikes.
Oh dear.
You're not doing that on Facebook Marketplace typically, but you are doing it in this game.
Sometimes I feel like I am doing deals with devils on Facebook Marketplace, but that's a middle-aged man rant for another day.
You and your friends are cooperatively trying to escape a casino where you're playing against the devil himself, who lives at the bottom of this deck. Here he is. You ready to see him? It's the devil himself.
The devil himself. It says it on the card.
Yeah. You're ultimately going to try and get down to him and then beat him at poker. But before then, you've got to face all of his different accomplices in a little poker game. The way that this works is very straightforward. What you're going to do is you're going to get dealt 2 cards from the deck, Texas Hold'em style, and a third card that you're going to hide up your sleeve. Just a little bit of cheating that you get to do early on. But lots of different ways you can cheat in this game.
But I don't have to put it on my sleeve for real because we're playing cooperatively.
I think you should put it up your
Well, I'd
sleeve
like
for
to.
real.
All right, but my sleeve is...
It's going to be a little tricky.
It's fine.
It kind of works. It's kind of obvious that you're
It's a
cheating.
9 of diamonds. It's obvious to you and to the people at home, but not obvious to the devil, who's there and currently can't see anything because they're underneath a bunch of cards.
And then what you're going to do with these cards is traditional Texas Hold'em poker style. You're going to make a bet based on the quality of your hand. You get to do this before the flop, pre-flop, after the flop, after the turn, and after the river. So you're going to place out these first 3 cards, and you're going to make bets in between.
Okay.
Or you can fold and be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
The way that you bet is very straightforward. You have a bunch of these little chips at the bottom of your player board, and you can bet any one of them.
Oh.
There's a simple one. It's just this earn a soul chip. Souls are important because they're kind of your life in the game. So we've got a little reserve of them over here based on our player count, but you can get more if you decide to bet souls, and then you put it in your bet area.
So you can gamble with souls and then get more souls.
And then get more souls to kind of increase your lifespan, which is really important because the final boss, the devil, is going to guzzle them.
This is really useful for when I inevitably end up in hell. So we can see the different types of chips that we're betting in addition to souls, which we talked about. I'm putting this out here.
An extra player board.
An extra player board, as if there are 2 players here. Who knew? I've got to reinsert my secret hidden card.
So the other things that you can do, instead of just betting a regular soul chip, is you could bet a heal, a player's temptation chip. You can see down right in the bottom of the board, you have this big hot wheel of temptation, and if a player ever reaches 10, you lose.
Okay,
You'll also notice there's some little flamey barriers on there. You can never heal backwards through one of those barriers.
You've been too tempted, you can't go back.
Yeah, once you've become a certain level of tempted, it's over.
That was the original tagline for Pringles.
You also have other kinds of powers down here, like drawing favors, which is these sort of one-use powers that you can have in front of you that give you special abilities. You've also got revealing cards, which means you can show other people what cards you have in your hand so they can kind of inform their bets based on that. Or maybe they could use a devilish offering, which are these things down here that let you swap around cards so you can give the player who's bet big a bunch of cards so they can beat the boss.
So I guess we are all going to be potentially betting, but only one of us will win.
Yes, well no, multiple of us can win.
Oh, because you're beating the house.
You're trying to beat the house because each of the different bosses that you face, we can now get rid of this little board, has an associated card.
I'll put this up my sleeve.
Yep. Wow, where'd it go?
Up my sleeve.
If you bring us one of those bosses over there, the current boss that we're facing, you see they have a sort of default hand
Yes.
that they'll play, or they'll play a better one if they can build one with their 2 whole cards they have over here and the stuff that's available in the world
Okay, right.
over
So
here.
it's like this is a baseline, but then their hand might get better than that if they have the right combination of things in their flop and their pocket.
And also, all of the different bosses that you fight have different abilities. So this one lets you draw more cards, but you suffer temptation if you do so.
Right.
You could actually say, I don't really want to suffer the temptation, and if you do that, they draw a card. So potentially it's a bit of a push of luck. There's also another way you can cheat as well that I forgot to explain, is that after you do these draws, you burn a card, and normally you don't get to see that, but in this you do. So you can look at all the burn cards and kind of work out the
You get
odds.
a little bit more information about what's going on. So you're kind of allowed to card count, basically.
Yeah, a little bit of card
Like,
counting.
you're allowed.
As a treat.
Yeah, why not?
You also have a situation where if you choose to fold, which you may well do, you will suffer the penalty, or if you lose as well, you'll suffer the penalty on the chips that you bet. So all of them have a slightly different penalty, but generally it involves taking temptation, or maybe curses, which will kind of give you a negative modifier that might make some of your cards useless.
Okay.
So one of them is like all your diamond cards just do nothing, which is like a pain.
That's a bad time.
That's a bad time.
That's a bad time.
And also, if you fold or if you lose, you will lose the requisite number of souls shown on this card. So we'd lose 2 of our communal pile of souls, and that's all gravy. You can lose as many as you want until you get to the final boss, where if you lose too many souls, you're in hell forever.
Yeah, that's how it works. You've got to keep onto your soul. If you can't, then you grab onto somebody else's and take that first. We all understand the
been
basics.
there.
We've all done the tutorial.
We've all done the tutorial.
You know, just like being in real casinos, Tom, it's very difficult when you get sweaty. You have to rearrange the sleeves. just give me a minute while I just move.
Really cram my card right in there.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm getting very sweaty with all these cards in my sleeve. Can I just?
There's also, if you want to make the game a little bit trixier, there are also Hellfire versions of the existing bosses, and there are a whole bunch of different versions of that final boss card at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
So you can there's lots of different devil himselfs to face. And there's also a solo mode in the box as well, if you fancy that.
Yeah.
That's the basics of Hell of a Deal, a game
of a Deal.
about trying to beat the devil at poker with your friends.
Good luck with that.
Good luck.
The Crew, Journey to the Ends of the Earth. Ooh. Now The Crew, obviously a cooperative trick-taking card game. We like that a lot.
We did.
And now The Crew is back. And this time, in the first game they went to space, eventually. What are they doing here?
In the second one, they went underwater.
Oh, of course there was another. I forgot about the wet expansion sequel.
And now they're going into the hot, hot lava at the ends of the earth. That's right, they're going to Crawley. Put in some canned laughter there. Just put in a few little jokes.
Cool.
Yeah. The basics of this are exactly like The Crew that we all know and love, which I'll explain now in case you don't know and love it. It's a cooperative trick-taking game. You've got a hand of cards. You're going to play them into tricks in the centre of the table with the highest lead colour winning. And in the regular Crew, you have to do certain things with those cards. So one player might have to win the 9 of yellow, and one player has to win no pink cards. And if you do all those objectives, then you win the game collectively. But The Crew Journey to the Ends of the Earth has some new little wrinkles that you're going to have to deal with. Namely, that we now have a logbook that goes in the middle of the table that's going to guide us through a campaign of different missions as we search for some treasure. And each one of these missions is a page here and shows a sort of journey that you're going to go on. Here's our little explorer, and here's the time they have to do their mission. And so this first one, we're just on a train. You can see all these little train spots. We're going to do a bunch of train-based gameplay. And then on the next mission, we have different gameplay, which I'll explain in a second. But the way that this works will be very familiar to folks who have played The Crew. You're going to choose one of these 2 task cards on the top without seeing what it is. So let's choose this one for now, and we then flip it over. No trick may be opened with an 8 or a 9. So that's our condition, and we now play a round of The Crew where we cannot open with an 8 or a 9.
Well, I was going to open with my green 9, because you know I like to do that.
What if I open with my green 4?
Okay.
You can safely play your green 9.
I can follow with the green 9.
Look at that, we're doing so good. And we play out the entire hand, and if we manage to do this goal, then we move our little piece this many spaces forward, so we just get one little step here.
So the difficulty of these is going to allow us to move more spaces.
Exactly, and you can see it's tuned for player count as well. Here it's just 1 for no matter what, but here it varies depending on how many people you've got on the table. So here we'd move 4 entire spaces, bam, 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 bam.
We beat the clock.
We beat the clock. Kind of, because the clock is going to move 1 space forward after every one one of these tricks that you do, and now we take another run at it. But if the clock...
We're being chased by a clock!
We're being chased by time, aren't we all?
Yeah.
The aim of the game is for us to reach the end destination before the clock gets there.
Got it.
But the real aim of the game is kind of to beat the sort of like par score for the mission that you're on. You want to have as many spaces between you and the clock at the end as possible, because that's the score that you're going to write down.
Right.
So if we manage to beat it by, you know, a whole bunch of different rounds, then we're going to score better. We're going to score negative points.
Okay,
and
so
you ultimately want to score
your
as close
campaign
to
is
zero
not
as
just
possible.
success. You're doing like a golf par.
Yeah,
golf
exactly,
scoring.
Whereas if you manage to make it exactly the same time as the clock, that's a score of 0, and that's kind of bad. You want to make sure that you're getting there a little bit.
Still did it.
We still did it. The other thing that's going to be introduced, though, is that these different spaces that you're on will introduce new trick-taking restrictions to the game. If you flip over, look at how weird these start to get later on.
Whoa,
I don't even want to read that. That's terrifying.
Pompeii.
This one's got a map.
Africa? That's a
My,
whole
my.
continent. My gosh.
And just condensed down into
So I'm not going to
simple
look at any more of that because I don't want to spoil it.
Well, I do want to give some little basics for the people at home.
Okay, go on, spoil it a little bit.
So these little footstep spaces, this is when you're on foot, and therefore it's slow, it's boring. You have to pick the lower number on these cards, so it's going to slow you down. Whereas on this other page, we got skis. And when you play skis, there are certain cards.
You're
in your
James
hand.
Bond.
You are indeed James Bond, and you'll play your James Bond 007 cards. Nah, it's not related
No,
to James Bond at all.
but when you do this, you go further because of the skis?
The skis are going to make it so that everyone has to swap hands with each other around the table whenever someone plays these ski cards when you're on a ski-based level. And these scooter cards let you pass cards. The bicycles, you're out of breath because you're pumping your legs on the bicycle, so you can't talk if you've got a bicycle in your hand, which is useful because then you can know that someone's got a bike, and therefore that's why they're not speaking and that kind of thing. It's clever. It's good stuff.
Honestly, a lot of delightful seeming stuff in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the crew journey to the ends of the earth. It's new crew, and it's got a book full of bikes.
Enchanted Ivy. Better than normal ivy, which is just a big old pain in the arse.
Enchanted Ivy, the kind of thing you give to a magical patient.
Oh, like an IV!
Like an IV!
That's a medical joke. I enjoyed that.
It's
Thanks,
good.
Tom. Thanks.
This is Enchanted Ivy, a game about doing neither of those things. It's a game about running a magical tavern inn thing. An inn, I think. I think inn is the word.
Yeah, you run a magical inn. You've got to make a big old inn out of these cards, which can either be walls or windows.
Wow.
And what do we find behind windows? Human beings. Well, that's not a human being, actually, is it?
It's a scarecrow. It's a facsimile of a human being. This is a solo-only campaign game where you will play through this little storybook over here, which contains within it a multitude of scenarios, such as Scenario 1, which we have set up on the table over here.
We have indeed.
These have a few things on them. They show you what guests you're going to have for this scenario. They've got a little bit of story text, and they show you the layout your inn must eventually
So
be.
this is the shape you have to make with cards. It's
Yes.
a classic 4x4 with 2 on top.
with a little bit on the top.
4x4 with 2 on top, that's my favourite football position combination.
You'll notice later on that some of these also have spaces that you can't place in, which is kind of exciting. And this one's a weird little cake.
It
That's
is.
kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Each of these scenarios kind of plays out in the same way. You are going to, on your turn, place 2 of these cards. You place one on its wall side and one on its window side. You can kind of decide the bounds of how big you want your inn to be. Like, where's the bottom? You can work that out
you
as
work that
go
out
along.
later.
Yeah, exactly.
Or can you though? Because there's a door here.
I'll talk about the door in just a little bit. Once you've placed your wall and your window, you will then place one of the guests and you pop them on a window like so, and then you'll draw 2 new cards and another guest from the bag to kind of refill your hand. Keep going till you've placed out the full inn. Now, all of these different guests score in different ways. So in this bag of guests, we have the bard somewhere in there who likes to be around other people.
Oh, of course. They want people to sing at.
We want people to listen to their tunes. We've got the monk who wants to be alone. Definitely not near the bard, definitely not near anything. Just want to chill out. Or we have the raven keeper who looks down on people.
They just want ravens. Why won't you give them a raven?
I also really like that there's scarecrows in this intro scenario. The scarecrows just don't give you any points, but they count as people for the purposes of other people's scoring criteria.
So it's
The bard is like singing their beautiful song to their muse along the way, but
it's like you're doing the tutorial level as a real person in real life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you'd be like, here's your training. Like most of the other people in the training are scarecrows.
Once you've filled out this whole thing, you'll score your guests accordingly, and you will score extra points for making a nice, clean bit of ivy layout.
You
on
want
your
like
board.
lovely patches of ivy all connected. That makes sense.
Now, there's a couple of fun little wrinkles to this that I think are really exciting. So over the course of this storybook, you're going to get access to doors.
Right, I was going to say.
Doors, you can place them at any point, whenever you want, and they have little conditions on the back. This one just gets you 3 points, but it means they have to be placed on the bottom row, so as soon as you place them, it glues it down.
Right, that means your shape is not malleable anymore. That's the bottom floor.
That's the bottom. We have a whole bunch of guests. There are so many different ones in here, like fire breathers, alchemists, justices, lovers, a dragon tamer. I like how tiny the dragon is. That's really cute. There's a whole bunch of different guests.
For now.
And also, all of these individual scenarios in the book have little challenges that you can try and accomplish on high scores. And when you do that, you get little stickers that go in your personal little doo-doo-doo-doo.
Oh, that's nice.
Little achievement booklet.
And the achievement booklet is like a little house with a little like space for pets and pictures and...
There's also a very alarming little flyer that tells you about spoilers, because there's more doors you can unlock.
There's more doors and there's more storybooks.
And I'm looking at the back of them right now. Oh my god.
Stop spoiling yourself with these doors, Thomas.
So sorry. That's Enchanted Ivy. A little solo game, cozy time, about running your magical inn.
This is Emerald Echoes, a puzzle tale. And this is a little bit of a complicated one because, as you can see, there's all sorts of things all over the table. It looks like we just made a mess. Tom, is this the receipt for your Tesco's meal deal?
Yes.
Well, they've really gone to town on the paper quality these days. Tesco's, someone's earning. Seems like we're sponsored by Tesco's at this point.
We're not.
We're not. But the reason that it's all just out like this, and we're not really talking about the game already, is because this is sort of a story escape room puzzle thing in a box.
Yes, it's spoiler-rich territory. We've sort of dumped out the components of the first of the 4 different chapters that you have to solve in Emerald Echoes. As you can see, there's perhaps the slimmest chapter, and they get progressively chunkier as you go along.
Yeah.
Look at that final chapter, that's massive.
This one is like an air mail envelope. This one has already had its postage fees paid. Do not bend, crush, or fold. Thank you. And again, it's interesting because I'm like, does that mean in the game? Does it always do that? Or will I break the game if I bend this?
Quite possibly.
Or is that something to do with the puzzles? And then this one is just massive.
Yeah, so there's 4 chapters that you're going to play through, and each of those chapters has a whole bunch of puzzles in them that you can solve on your own, or you can play it cooperatively. Also, I should point out that you can reset all of this at the end. You'll notice that these envelopes have little Velcro things on them rather than typical sort of sticky
shoelaces.
Sticky shoelaces. So I've got the sort of first chapter laid out here, and this is just stuff that you'll see when you dump out the box, so don't worry about spoilers. And then you have all of these little individual envelopes that you're going to go through. And the first one is a sort of story envelope that gives you the kind of basic premise in here, and it has some stuff to read, both in the past, because you're tracing the story of this 15th century alchemist who's trying to do alchemy.
Wow.
And also the modern day you, or the people who are then looking through all of this stuff inside.
So this is like the dialogue of the people who found the things.
They're using text messages rather than typical paper
Rather than paper, because the world is different now. Has anyone noticed?
And then everyone after that, so these blue ones are just story, and then as you go through them, they start containing puzzles. So again, you've got this little sort of, almost a bit of story that's written down here that contains clues as to what you need to do with these actual components on the table.
Got it.
And if you're a little confused as to what's going on, maybe we'll even have to fuzz this out for spoiler reasons, but you'll see that the text conversations turn from just like narrative stuff into little hints that you gradually slide out the more that you want to know. Isn't that really nice?
That's cool,
So
I like that.
If you're a little bit stuck, you can get a text from your imaginary friend. There's a bunch of this stuff. I don't know what any of it is.
Yeah.
That's the delight of the puzzles,
That's
and
the
it all
thing.
looks kind of cryptic.
We didn't want to spoil it for ourselves.
I reckon that these sort of
also not
rectangular
you.
pieces go here in this kind of little code.
It makes a picture.
But how does it make it?
Well, not like that, does it?
Maybe it does just make a picture. Oh, I want to make the picture now.
But there are symbols around the edges.
There are symbols around the edges.
Fishing.
There's a guy in the middle, and then the narrative little bit is telling you about all of the things that they've been doing on their journey, on their departure, on their journey. So maybe you have to assemble them according to their journey. Does any of these have goat's meat on an open fire? In which case, that one's got to go somewhere.
Goat's meat's burning on an open fire. It's a weird Christmas again. This appears to be warehouse locations. Warehouse number 796 is, of course, in Amsterdam.
This one has a crazy cipher on it, and also there's this funky sort of building layout with these Tetris-y sort of blocks and then a bit of tracing paper that you can put over the top. And also, what are these instructions for burning a candle and opening a birdcage? I don't know, but I want to find out.
Well, that's just how you burn a candle to open a birdcage. Have you do you not learn that at school? Do they not teach you anything these days? Dang, there was a bird in the background there. I guess it got out after I lit the candle and this is the cage.
We're so good at this. That is a very brief and rambly overview of Emerald Echoes, a puzzly game that you can play on your own or with friends that has a whole bunch. Look at all that. Look at all those puzzles.
This is not an envelope. This is a package.
That's a package, and it's rich with narrative and a snake.
It sounds like it's got a bit of wood in it. Ooh la la. It's French toast, otherwise known as eggy bread, pongos. My dad tried to make pongos a thing once, telling us that French toast were called pongos. It didn't work. Like, we were just like immediately like,
real.
What are you doing? No. French toast.
French toast. It's actually a game that sort of has nothing to do with French toast in a strange way.
But
even
also,
though you're going to say French toast a lot.
Also has everything to do with French toast.
Absolutely. The premise of this game is that one player is an alien who's come to Earth, and the only way they can understand other concepts is by comparing them to the first thing that they saw, which was French toast.
This is deeply relatable to me.
It's very relatable. The way this works is one player is going to be the alien, and everyone else is going to be Earthlings trying to find out what's on the alien's brain. They're going to draw a noun card, and this is the thing they want everyone to try and ultimately guess. For example, an axe.
An axe. Let's give this a go. So I have the word axe, and now you're going to basically say some words to me.
I'm going to say some words to you. Radiator.
Radiator.
Plant.
Plant. So what we're doing here, effectively, is we're just losing our minds.
If it wasn't obvious.
If it wasn't obvious, let's just play. Let's just play around. It's easy. Don't worry about it. The way it works is you start with one word, and then after they say a second word, each time you just repeat back to them the word that is the closest to the words that you're trying to get them to go to.
Right.
So plant, I was like plants, trees.
Yeah.
Chop down a tree.
It's getting closer.
Although obviously we could have been going for some time.
Yes, we could have been going for a whole round because you have these timed rounds. They're about 30 seconds, I think, where you just yell words at the alien and they try and bounce them back to you.
And then effectively you want to try and move closer to do it? What's going on with this,
This
Thomas?
is between rounds. The alien gets to place a little hint card to get you a little closer to the actual answer. So, for example, they might draw quiet, and they can put it whether it is or isn't a quiet object. So an axe you might put like here because it's not that
So
quiet.
you're not expected to guess axe immediately?
No, you have multiple rounds.
That's a relief, because I just thought we were really bad at this.
Yeah, it's very simple, and it's also very hectic because you're just bellowing loads of words at an alien as they panically try to think about which one is closest to a laptop or a rat or a shirt. And you also have your little stack of basic nouns over here if you're feeling casual.
Ooh, I love a basic noun.
If you're crazy, you can go for the advanced nouns with such words as keyboard.
Oh, that's danger noun.
Yeah, kangaroo.
Kangaroo?
Ooh, how are you going to get there? You've got the whole animal kingdom to get through before you get to kangaroo.
You just hope that the first word they say is bounce.
Yeah, exactly.
But then even then that's not helpful, because then they'd just be saying other words for ages and you'd just be going, bounce.
Therein lies the game of French toast.
French toast.
It's French toast.
French toast.